is saying StreamYard does not. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to VC TV, the Venture Capital TV from LATOKEN. My name is Sunny Mohanty. I'm the host and moderator of VC TV. And today, again, we are back on another exciting, my favorite topic: how is blockchain transforming government and public sector? This is my favorite topic as well. And today I'm joined here by esteemed speakers. Let's have a quick round of intro. Here we go. Hi, Vandana. Welcome back. Adrian, welcome back. Harsh, welcome back. How are you all today?
Doing good.
Okay,
very
great.
good in work mode.
Work
Hi,
mode,
yes,
work mode,
Yeah.
doing good. What else? Fabio, how are you? Can you hear me, Fabio? Hi, we can hear you. Hello? Okay. While Fabio is setting up his laptop or his device. Okay. Let's have a quick round of intro. Adrian, let's start with you. Good morning. How are you? Work mode?
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for having me again in the VC TV LA Token family. Is LA Token or La Token? Because I'm saying LA Token. I don't know why. And I'm hearing other people saying La Token. I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. I'm involved in few projects. Cloudcoin Consortium. Cloudcoin is a post-blockchain digital currency. The decentralized autonomous organization DAO1. I'm also building a media news and education website, coincruncher.com, which is in works for about 2 years. Also involved in venture capital. I don't want to cannibalize the introduction. Happy to be here and contribute.
Thank you, Adrian. So you can call it LA Token, as long as you are referring to the company that we are.
Okay.
We are talking on the platform right now. Thank you so much, Adrian. Harsh, over to you with a quick round of intro.
Hi everyone. Glad to be back after a long time. Looking forward to be a part of the family again. So my name is Harsh Shetty. I'm a venture partner with our ventures and the founder of Startup Hackers. Startup Hackers is an early stage startup growth community where we are helping early stage startups grow their business and helping them fundraise. We are almost 1,000 strong community right now and looking to grow as quickly as possible. Additionally, we help a lot of companies raise funds all the way up to $15 million. That's the sweet spot that we are typically looking at, helping them raise their Series A. And I personally prefer B2B, SaaS, health tech, and clean tech. These are the kind of sectors which I truly resonate with. And if any startup needs help, feel free to reach out. Thank you so much.
That's good to know. Thank you so much, Harsh. Next, we have Fabio. Fabio, can you hear us? Hello, Fabio, can you hear us? Okay, Vandana, a quick round of intro from you, please.
Thank you so much, Sunny. First of all, I want to thank the entire team of LATOKEN TV for having me on the show over and over again and putting in a lot of efforts to organize this show. And really happy to see you back, Sunny. And I'm feeling joyous and very excited to be on all your panels. That's why I've signed up for many this month in July, which is coming up. And coming to my intro, basically, I was in Singapore and Jakarta for 15 years in investment banking. I had my own family office fund there. I worked as an investment banker and advisor to family offices and angels investors in Jakarta as well, helping startups from diverse background from fintech and BT tech all the way to consumer startups. I was raising funds for them and providing them with a range of services, just as Convanto does today. After 15 years of staying in Singapore and Jakarta, I came back to India. I did investments for a bit and then returned to advisory. That is when Convanto was founded. And today, Convanto is one of the most well-known boutique investment banks in India and led by a female founder. Today, I'm also a venture advisor with Loyal VC, the INSEAD-led Canadian VC fund, having a core portfolio of 160 investments in more than 35 countries. I'm also a partner with GST Venture Studios, a Silicon Valley-based venture builder. Over the years, I have arranged funding for startups and growth stage companies in diverse sectors like edutech, fintech, consumer B2B, B2C, agri-tech, health tech, food tech, destructive and deep tech, as well as non-tech sectors. And please do have a look at my website for the wonderful testimonials written by my clients. This month, I've been nominated as one of the top 10 women leaders in wealth management 2021. My expert opinion is often sought by leading business news channels and publications like VCTV, Business World, and I've participated in almost 150 plus talks. One can have a look at them on YouTube, as well as visit my website for the same, www.convanto.com. I'm connected with 300 plus investors globally, and I pick up global deals while being sector agnostic. Our ticket size is $1 million to $25 million.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Vanjana, for that intro as well. And lovely to know that you are doing more and more stuff as we go by each day. That's good to know. Thank you so much, Harsh, Vanjana, and Adrian, for the introduction. Unfortunately, Fabio is having some technical issues joining StreamYard. It is kicking him out. I think for StreamYard, you need a strong Wi-Fi to log in from your home or something. So that's why he's struggling to get in. So I don't know if he can get in, but let's just start the show, okay? So yes, why are we discussing this topic today? Blockchain technology in government and public sector. And is there any significance to it? I mean, do we see that there's a lot of potential of this technology, the digital ledger technology, the decentralized nature of this technology that can help the legacy systems used by the governments and the public sectors that we have all around the world? And obviously, when you're talking about blockchain, we cannot separate blockchain from cryptocurrencies. One of the number one use cases of blockchain that so far everybody knows in the financial industry. So we're going to touch base on CBDCs as well a little bit. So yes, let us start with Adrian. Adrian, why do you think there is a need that the legacy government and the public sectors need to consider blockchain technology going forward? Mute.
Sorry. First, in every country, the governments, they take care of the infrastructure. And I'm talking here about the physical infrastructure and about the digital infrastructure of that country. So whenever there is a new technology with the potential to improve an economy and to optimize the systems, the governments should be among the first to adopt them, because in every government there are specialists in digital, in internet, even in DLT. So I see the role of governments very, very important. Of course, some of the governments are at the forefront of this, like Dubai, like the government of Estonia and other countries, and others are very, very slow adopters. And here the resistance is related to political issues, to the vision of that country and other elements. But I would say that the governments should be some of the primary adopters of these new technologies, which can help people live better lives at the end.
Absolutely. That's a good start, Adrian. Thank you so much. Harsh, over to you, please.
Yeah, blockchain has definitely has a lot of applications, right? Especially in most of the countries where they are still not as digitally as advanced as some of the other countries, right? Blockchain can simply help in solving the problem and help in retrieving the problem, which are important in a lot of transactions, right? So whether it be fintech or digital identity or agricultural or contracts or whatever might be the case, there are multiple use cases which are there with the help of blockchain, and that's why the governments across the world are seeing that, and they are hoping for a renaissance happening in the way the current blockchain tech is structured, right? They're hoping for some sort of an improvement, whether it becomes more efficient and more cheaper, essentially, so that the government can dive head into that. Because most governments today they realize the importance of going digital, and it's very difficult to kind of create a technology like that right from the scratch, where you can provide a lot of services to the people at large, right?
Mhm.
Blockchain can help in executing that, and that's why a lot of governments across the world are extremely optimistic and very positive about implementing that in their business within the entire uh, civil system.
Yes. So coming to the use cases, we're going to drill down a little bit more into details of the use cases later on. But you mentioned digital identity, and that's obviously is one of the use cases that we're going to discuss in details. Thank you so much, Harsh. Vandana, over to you.
Yeah, so one of the government's most important functions is managing its citizens' most personal and private information.
Hmm.
And everything from birth certificates to real estate transactions to educational records to wills and more. Now,
Yeah.
keeping this data safe is vitally important, and blockchain is poised to help the government manage data more effectively, quickly, and securely. Now, blockchain technology is making headlines due to its potential impact across industries. And for the unfamiliar, blockchain is an online, real time ledger of anything that can be recorded, like financial transaction, contracts, assets, supply chain information, etc.
Yeah.
No one person oversees this entire chain. Everyone can see the detail of each record or block, and the only person who can edit or block is the one who owns it and has a private key. Now, this technology offers a robust approach to data security and reducing transaction costs, which are just some of the reasons that blockchain market is expected to surpass 20 million, 20 billion by 2024. So I feel this is what is mainly about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, obviously, blockchain technology has a lot of use cases in private sector, financial industry that we've seen so far. Like one of the popular use cases, cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, and everything else. But talking about the public sector, I think some of the use cases that stands out are digital identity, healthcare, regulations, voting. So basically, digital voting is one of the use cases, that is central banking, CBDCs. Let's just talk about some of these sections within the public sectors and government that can get benefited by this technology. Coming over with, let's discuss digital identity. So Harsh, what are the current challenges in the digital identity in the digital identity space that needs to be addressed, and how this technology going to help address that problem?
Correct. Absolutely. So digital identity is one of the most crucial areas which most countries across the world are kind of struggling with, right? A lot of countries they still follow the old school paper-based system where they keep on, the physical ID cards, the passports, and all the local which are there. And even if they are using technology, it's very traditional, very conventional, right? Uh, that is where India actually was able to, really see a lot of innovation in that space, right? Indian government launched the India Stack in 2016, and that has been a complete revolution in in terms of the identity verification, fintech space, how easily the payments have been made. You have a UPI, which is essentially a free money-to-money transfer. Whereas if
Mm,
you look at countries across the world, they charge 2%, 3%, even 4% just for facilitating currency transfers from one bank account to the other bank account, because each and every step, the verification from the government from one bank to the other bank, it's just ridiculously expensive. And the Indian government started the India Stack at that point of time. So what blockchain can do at that point of time is it can easily, safely and securely retrieve the information, make it extremely efficient, and make it extremely low price as well, because the conventional technology takes a lot of time, and it requires a lot of manual input as well. What happens is, in a banking transaction, there are two entities involved, right? One bank and the other bank, which kind of have to facilitate the transaction. Each of them have to manually verify, which takes a lot of time. With blockchain, you can put the smart contracts over there and kind of ensure that it happens on a real time basis, on a much faster level, right? That is how fundamentally it's different, and that's what makes it extremely efficient. And that is why, when you have this for identity verification done at a national level, it generally it really goes skyrockets. And that is why, you have companies like Bharat Pay, Phone Pay, so many fintech large players in India, and still we are just at the surface, right? We still haven't, gone beyond the 10% penetration which is there. There's still 90% opportunity to still remain. That is how deep the opportunity is.
Right. Wow. Yes, absolutely. Rightly mentioned about all those aspects that affect the digital identity. When you consider that in banking or KYC and all those aspects of banking, for sure. Yes, Adrian, over to you, please.
With the use case of voting related to DLT technologies, by adopting these, I believe we will eliminate a lot of discussions about how to say, misleading the results when there are elections. So this is very important. Also, in many countries, you can vote through, I don't know, correspondence, or you can vote in a digital manner. And few years ago, it was a trend, but it didn't happen. Like your digital passport to be connected, let's say, with your Facebook account or with your LinkedIn account.
Okay.
So, but that one didn't happen. So I believe that only the DLT technologies can really enable that. There are many theories or attempts. Some of them are successful, and some of them become obsolete. And this one, with connecting your social media accounts with your, let's say, with your real passport, this became obsolete. And the struggles with digital identity are related, I believe, with the resistance of people to adopt these technologies, because there is a learning curve. And when there is something which is unknown, people try to stay away from it. They say, okay, I did this faculty, I did this MBA, I have, I don't know, a good job or a good position. Why should I learn about this? Why should I adopt this? Because I need to work more. And many people are afraid of working more. They prefer on binging on TV and say, okay, we don't want to adopt this. It's too dangerous. Look at crypto. This use case is too volatile. So no, DLT technologies are not for us. There is always resistance in adopting a paradigm. And if other people like us will push this idea until it will become second nature, people will adopt it by default at all levels, both as a user level and both at a corporate level and at the government level, because we are not governed by robots, we are governed by real people. And all the people, we have like the same brain, the same structure here. So we process information, quote unquote, in similar ways. So these are new ideas, new paradigms, and there is resistance because they are new and not known for the majority of people at all levels. So it takes time, and we need to have patience.
Absolutely.
But slowly we are getting there. Some of them will work, some of them will not. Nobody knows exactly, but we need to try, to keep trying.
Absolutely. I think that the one great point that you mentioned, Adrian, was the resistance. Of course, we have seen like all the central banks banning cryptocurrencies. One of the ones that I can remember on top of my head to share. But yes, there's a lot of resistance. But again, we keep on trying. Thank you so much, Adrian. Vandana, over to you, please, with your insights. For your insights, yeah.
Yeah, Sunny, I totally agree with Adrian and what Harsh said earlier, that we have the resistance. Like, remember in our previous talks, which we were having on blockchain this week,
Yeah.
especially, we
Yeah.
mentioned that we are resistant to everything that is new.
New.
And once we get the hang of it, and like even you mentioned that, about how to manage the wallets and on, and if you didn't mention, I would have not learned that, oh, this is
Right.
also something new. So,
Yeah.
like similarly, when the digital payments came in India, we were all skeptical to use it because we didn't know what is it, and what's going to happen next, and how we're going to. Now I see everybody is so comfortable with it that they don't want to even use cash. This morning I was trying to give cash to an Uber driver, and he said, no, transfer it by Paytm.
Right.
So I was like, it's like that.
Yeah.
Similarly, when Zoom came in,
Yeah.
and AirMeet and Microsoft Team, everybody, way before back, we already had Zoom for
Yeah.
meetings, and everybody was like, oh, we are not going to use Zoom. What is this Zoom? And then finally, when the pandemic hit us, all of
Yeah.
us were forced to use these platforms, and
Right.
it became actually a boon because we got connected globally. I still remember the first day when we were using StreamYard, and we had so many glitches, and then finally we got used to it, and then we were quite happy that, okay,
Yeah.
this also is something that we should learn. Similarly, when it comes to why are states still unsure about digital currencies is, despite all the advantages, states are ambivalent about the topic of digital currencies. This is especially so if these currencies are at least theoretically want to become globally recognized and new standard of their own. Think of how hard Mark Zuckerberg has tried to advance Facebook's digital currency Libra, once supported by so many partners. But since abandoned by many, including PayPal, MasterCard, Visa, eBay, and Stripe, Libra's hope for survival now rests on the appointment of Stuart Levy, a former senior US Treasury official, as Libra's new CEO. But whether he will end up making a real difference is yet to be seen. Now, global competition and protection of private and national interest are still of high importance. So the issue of authorship of, money and control over it is really very important. If a private company becomes the issuer of the state digital currency, it may, pursue its own commercial interests. There's also a risk that the company's employees may create some kind of vulnerability, which, for example, will lead to data leakage in the future. And who knows what will happen if the company changes owners. So, a striking example is the scandal with Crypto AG, which has long been one of the leaders in encryption market. As it turned out, in the Middle East of 20th century, it was bought by American and German intelligence services, which allowed them to read secret correspondence between governments and intelligence agencies of other countries for decades. Now, in the case of money, it would be like a nuclear explosion. That is why, private corporations cannot be trusted with state-issued currencies. And for the state to be able to launch its own digital currencies, the mere desire to maintain a monetary monopoly is not enough. Central banks should become technology companies. This is a serious challenge, and as such, states are in no hurry to launch, digital currencies before they are convinced of the availability of everything necessary, from advanced technologies to a reliable team of professionals, to be able to provide as secure and reliable an infrastructure as in possible, and give the entire economy will be depending on it, and given that hackers will be trying to penetrate the system. However, given how actively different countries are now considering the possibility of following the example of China, dozens of national cryptocurrencies will become available in the very near future. So I think this is my small explanation. Hope I've answered your question here.
I think you've answered everything I wanted to ask in this session in one question, but that's okay, Vandana. We love your insights, your very elaborate insights covering different aspects: security, digital identity, CBDCs, private currencies, cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that you've just covered now is obviously useful information. Thank you so much. But let's just maybe touching up on what you just finished on the central bank issued digital
Yeah.
currencies on the blockchain, on the CBDCs, which how what they're called and now popularly. So most, as you rightly said, China obviously come up their CBDCs, and many other countries are working towards launching their CBDCs. The governments, the central banks. So, what are the benefits? Why do we need a CBDCs? What are the benefits of this having a central bank digital currency? And why was it born? Like, why did it, sort of was something that the governments and the central banks thought to have? And what are the different benefits that we can or maybe discuss here on this panel today? Adrian?
First, I will start with the potential internal use of CBDCs. The SWIFT system for international payments is obsolete. So, by using DLT technologies, because I'm talking about blockchain and other technologies connected to blockchain or post-blockchain, look, for example, anybody, I don't want to endorse it, but anybody who is using USDT, for example, the stable coin, can see that you can move amounts from exchanges in different parts of the world in few minutes with the fees of like $1. And this is a paradigm changer. And also from an exchange to a bank account, which is crypto friendly, payments in like less than 1 hour outside of the working hour of that bank. These are paradigm changers, comparing to what we know about the classical financial world. I don't think that the banks will disappear, and I'm not necessarily an advocate of saying, okay, banks are bad, this is good. It will be a mix of the old and new, and talking about the digital currencies at the central bank level, I believe they will be important because the actual financial system is too slow. Maybe it's okay for us, but for digital natives who at 2, 3, 4 years old, they can put their hands on an iPhone and to use it without any manual. The way the financing world at the state level, at the central banks level works, is too slow. Of course, what is missing here in this space, and the central banks can help, is the regulatory part. And even sooner or later, the DeFi world will see some regulations, because the users, they don't understand correctly what decentralized means, because it's not like the DeFi platforms are not managed by anybody and are left somewhere, because they consume hosting resources, they have teams, there is venture capital there. So it's just the decentralized is the way they operate. And the problem with the DeFi world, one of the biggest problem, is the security of funds. And I believe that the adoption of digital currency at the level of central banks slowly, we put some order in this space. So we'll remain the decentralized because we love these spaces, but somehow to have more security that, okay, when you come back after a month, if you put some coins in a staking account or in a farming account, you will find there the platform and your funds. Because the problem here in this market is not that, okay, the rewards are lower here and are higher there. The problem is if is the principal, will be there when you log in after 1 month or something like that. This is the biggest problem. And it's it's slowing down like crazy, the adoption. And central banks can't help with that, but they need a little bit of reinvention also.
I totally agree. Great points, Adrian. I'm just trying to summarize, but I'll come to Harsh before I forget my question. So the financial crisis gave sort of birth to Bitcoin. So what gave birth to CBDCs? I mean, what is that problem that the central banks are facing, that they need to have the CBDC, and how the CBDCs are different? Because I hear different types of CBDCs as well, retail, wholesale. And what is the CBDCs actually helping the banks to solve the current challenges they face? Harsh.
So, as a concept, CBDC is something which doesn't really make sense to me, quite honestly, because the idea of a cryptocurrency is it is supposed to be completely decentralized and beyond the central government, right? Beyond the control of a fixed government or a big an agency who's running operate. You have federal banks across the world, just like US Federal Bank, or in India we have the Reserve Bank. Typically, the currency is monitored by these agencies, right? A CBDC, how is it different from the current plastic currency, which is there in my credit card right now? Doesn't seem logically to be any different from that in any terms, right? So what my understanding is, CBDCs is a source for the governments to kind of still vest their power, to kind of ensure that the conventional fiat currencies are not challenged, are not threatened with the new age cryptocurrencies which are there. That is why how the CBDCs have come to origin, and that is why across the world there are a few countries who are banning the conventional cryptocurrencies and are creating their own CBDC. So it's just going to be an extension of the current plastic currency system which is there. Especially in country like India, where they've already, as I mentioned, the India stack earlier, right? They've already made the payment system so cheap that it doesn't really make sense, because even if they do like a CBDC system, the idea is to kind of lower the transaction rates, as Adrian was pointing out, right? Do a currency transfer from one country to another country for $1. That is the essential idea. In India, it's essentially zero. So transfer from one person to another person. So anyways, it doesn't really make sense to have a separate CBDC for India, because it's just another parallel for a fiat currency. As simple as that. And that is exactly why CBDC, Indian government, I'm not sure is too bullish on that or not right now, but doesn't make sense overall. But at the same time, coming back to the first part of the question, right? I still believe that having that completely decentralized finance or decentralized economy is still a long way, because people like us, the 5-10% who are extremely tech savvy, we jump onto new things and we want to experiment with new things. We'll always experiment, but unless it totally penetrates into the 90% of the market, right, it doesn't go to the next level. Look at the volatility that we are seeing with Bitcoin, right? It went all the way to $60,000. Now it's dropping to $20,000 again. The reason it is dropping that way is because you still don't have the last mile retail investors. It is those last mile retail investors which bring the stability to the coin. Without them, and if it is only the active 10% who are working on that, it's always just going to be like, it's not going to be very stable. It's not going to be very predictable. And that's why it cannot be used on a long-term basis. It's going to be much just like another asset where you can park some of your money in, but not something with too much widespread acclaim. So that is why, I don't believe the world is yet ready to have a completely decentralized currency as yet.
I mean, CBDCs are not decentralized, I guess. I think they're government controlled, right?
Yeah. No, so that's the idea. So the idea of a CBDC is that only to kind of, you have like currencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, but they cannot be mass adopted because people still want a government backing to that. People are so used to having that central government backing, that fiat currency, that stamp of approval, that it's going to take a long while before the regular retail investors are still comfortable with a concept like a cryptocurrency, which is completely decentralized. That's what I was referring to.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Harsh. I think Vandana, coming to CBDCs, you've already covered that topic in your previous insight. So another very prominent use case of obviously blockchain, digital ledger technology in public sector would be healthcare. It's a big
Yeah.
use case that we've seen during the pandemic as well, right? So just let's discuss. Sorry, let's discuss about some use cases that we've seen in the last 1 year since the pandemic hit us. So yeah, let's start with Vandana. Over to you. So what kind of prominent use cases can we discuss today?
See, I mean, up close, if you, is it okay if I just talk a bit about India? I mean, the sentiment that India carries towards blockchain technology is positive throughout. As per the NASSCOM 2019 blockchain report, nearly 50% of the states are involved in significant initiatives driving the technology's adoption in India. And
Right.
in fact, the number of projects built by blockchain development service providers have crossed over, 20 billion across multiple industries. So
Right.
whether it's healthcare, whether it's fintech, whether it's agri-tech, all these different industries,
Yeah.
they have crossed. The report stated that how the different state governments, Kerala, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Maharashtra, are supporting blockchain startups and projects. In fact, I've started getting a lot of blockchain startups now at this stage.
Right.
India is the top sixth in the list of patents happening in the blockchain space, with the total patents approval count in which was in 2021 have reached 67. To incorporate the power of decentralization, multiple nations are exploring the role of applications of blockchain in government and public sectors. They are also looking at central bank digital currencies, but does that mean that the time has come for every nation to look up into a blockchain-based government model? That I'm not sure. And
Yeah.
as the US accelerates its printing press, China is already testing the digital yuan. Giving this new reality, it becomes clear that the finance world will never be the same. But why do we need digital money? How is it better than the traditional fiat money? What are the pitfalls? I mean, the coronavirus epidemic has accelerated cryptocurrency's exit process from the marginal state and has firmly pushed it, front and center into many other people's consciousness than ever before. And today, the global economy needs a payment instrument with which you can make payments quickly, inexpensively, without unnecessary, intermediaries such as Visa or Mastercard. And it needs such an instrument now more than even before. And China is already testing its digital yuan, with USA, Great Britain, France, South Korea, and other countries working on similar steps too. Already 20% of 66 central banks reported that they are likely to issue CDBC within next 6 years. With all the action behind the scenes, it seems inevitable that in the coming years that state digital currencies will be widely available to ordinary citizens. I see more of it coming in health tech, fintech space as of now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The CBDCs should be available to people like us as well.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you so much, Vandana. Adrian, what have you seen in 2020 and 2021 in healthcare? How has technology disrupted or brought the new innovation?
In healthcare, I can use an example. Let's say I'm a regular blood donor, and the registry for the people who are donating blood, they can use this technology. These technologies, not only blockchain, but in general DLT technologies, because there are many things beyond blockchain. But the market is now dominated by blockchain. This is one thing. The second one, medical consulting from a distance. This is an industry which was accelerated by COVID. Also, what is discussed in Europe, especially the vaccination passport, because with the regular tests, we see a lot of people who still are using like fake tests. I don't know why people are doing that, because it's very dangerous for them, and I don't know. It's a stupidity to use that. To the technology, basically, you can assure that the tests presented are real. You can show them on a smartphone. You don't need a printed paper. You need to be sure 100% that the things are genuine. Also, to be a database which becomes international. So if you, let's say, vaccinate in India, anybody in US could see in 1 hour that you were vaccinated there, and things like that. A huge opportunity there, not only connected to COVID, but can be extended with everything else. And also for patients, visiting different doctors are not, let's say, like common databases. So when you analyze the social security number of that person, or I don't know, the unique code from the ID, to see like all the past medical interventions or doctor visits, to be able to have like a wide view of the state of that person. Maybe the insurance companies are doing that, but not sure if this space here is exploited at least at an average level. It's huge space here, because the data is spread in many ways, and here is also a resistance, and also there are some interests. I can use the examples in, let's say, in Romania. The databases of the state, not related necessarily to the health, but in general, the IT system had a huge cost over the years, but most of the costs were, I don't know, commissions paid to other people, not invested in that infrastructure, So huge resources deployed, but the outcome still is very small, because the money didn't went into the development, exactly went into the wrong pockets, I would say. And this is public information, so it's very important, like, I don't know, the state to be powerful, to say, okay, we want to have the best infrastructure, right? The best technical infrastructure for health, for this, for that. We have the budget. We need to make sure that the outcome will be the best one. Everywhere in the world there are commissions, everywhere, but at least you see a big outcome. So the commissions don't matter. They are there anyway, So that's the thing, and big potential, even for startups to involve here. Of course, for ethical startups who want to build stuff, who want to make these registries, these databases fully digitalized, and, I don't know, helping the economy, helping the people. To entrepreneurship and what we are doing here, I believe that we put some seeds which will change the world. I'm a little bit of idealistic in what I'm doing. But our work to have a sense, it's not just some work we are putting here.
Adrian, I think I remember one thing, like, the beginning of the pandemic, I was especially harsh in Vadana in India. People were coming up with forged COVID-19 certificates, like people they wanted to get away with maybe quarantine, or I don't know what kind of side effects if you are infected with the virus. Like so I think blockchain technology can help with that forgery, to stop that stuff. Similarly, not only that test results, the certificate as well, like the PCR certificate that you get after your tests are negative, that obviously has a big use case that I personally used myself. So it's a QR, it's attached to a QR code, and obviously they have all the information about you, your passport, your IC, your telephone number, all those key identifier. I think very something that we have seen in the pandemic. Thank you so much, Adrian. Harsh, over to you. Would you like to add something to what Adrian just said?
Could you repeat the question, please?
So what use cases or what benefits have we seen in the healthcare sector when it comes to the digital ledger or the distributed nature, digital decentralized nature of the technology?
Correct. So obviously the COVID part is the most obvious one, right? Tracking if people have gotten the test, whether it's negative or not, that they have taken vaccinations or not. That's the most obvious one, and it can be immediately applied. But in addition to that, the biggest application which I see is kind of creating like a global, not even a global, even if it's done like a national level database, right? Where essentially what you can do is each and every patient's data is captured on the blockchain.
Yeah.
Each and every hospital which is there, they can supply it to the central repository, and you can easily track it each and every time, right? Right now,
Yeah.
what happens is each and every hospital manages the independent hospital information system, right? They have the separate HIS systems. GPs have the separate HIS systems. A lot of them have it separate, and the entire information is decentralized. Because of that, what happens is either you have to take your entire medical records history in a physical format, which is completely cumbersome, and many times if you lose it or if it's in the wrong place, you have to waste a lot of time getting that. On the other hand, if you have a central repository, it could go a long way further, and that could have even at the beginning of the COVID stage, right? If you would have had an access to something like that, imagine we could have simply simply with the access to the blockchain technology, we could have kind of found out who are the most vulnerable sections of society, and we could have done the exact target identification and kind of curated them, kind of kept them in the most secure location to ensure that they don't get infected with the virus, and millions of lives could have been saved if it was done beforehand itself. So even if I guess that's lost opportunity, but even now I guess if we can still do that right now, that would still go a long way. Completely have an aggregated HR system at a national level where each and every patient information is consolidated on the blockchain. And the best part is because it is decentralized, it's not like someone will have remote access to that, like the way the current cloud services have.
Very good point, Harsh. There, like the current system has access, and as opposed to a blockchain decentralized database. So when it comes to government and public sector, the one thing that obviously we all can think of is corruption, right? So how can this technology, because of what attributes we know blockchain technology is secure, traceable, immutable, one source of truth. So how this technology can help corruption when it comes to voting and procurement, grants? Government gives out a lot of grants. Like, does it go to the right place, the destination? So how can we see another is land title registries, especially in India, right? People taking over others' property, and because we do not have that information, right? So how do you just maybe a little bit discuss? We just do not have much time. How can this technology help to reduce the amount of corruption that we have currently? Harsh?
Absolutely. So, as you rightly pointed out regarding the land registry and all that, right? A lot of international people may not be aware, but the Indian government during the lockdowns, what they were doing was they were actually going out and depositing money into the bank accounts through Jan Dhan Yojana into the the extremely marginalized population of the country, right?
Yeah.
extremely below poverty level kind of people, they were depositing money into their bank accounts. They could do that because of the NPCR and the UPI technology which was there, right? So
Right.
definitely, if they kind of implement blockchain, the entire purpose behind doing that was to eliminate the corruption. What typically used to happen is, they would put the money and there'd be a lot of middlemen involved over there and create a lot of fuss about that. So that is why it was created over there. You just simply extrapolate that to all the other areas which are there. Real estate stamp duty is there, land protection bills are there, a lot
Yeah.
of other, there are a lot of areas where you are unable to purchase land. For example, the agricultural law is quite stringent. Only farmers can purchase agricultural land. Investors cannot, because if the investors get into it, they'll make it extremely expensive, and farmers will no longer be able to purchase agricultural land because it'll be too expensive for them, right? Likewise, a lot of restrictions are there. A lot of restrictions are in place, right? If you can transfer all of that into blockchain, not only will it help in controlling those prices, it will also help in tracking and monitoring that. In fact, a lot of Indian celebrities were kind of, I would not want to name them, but some of them were caught buying land parcels over there of agricultural land, which was completely illegal. So, it will help kind of put those things under check as well.
Oh, wow. Good to know. No names. Okay, thank you, Harsh. Adrian, would you like to add something to that?
If we are talking about the corruption, of course, this is one of the resistance element, because when things are not fully digitalized and are not tracked by platforms where every step is tracked there, it's very easy to implement corruption. So in the processes where the corruption is present, it will take a lot of time until these technologies will be added. It's a reality. Entrepreneurship and what we are doing is about building value. So it's a totally different paradigm, So somehow we are not connected with that space, but this is a reality. And the resistance will be there until a forced paradigm change will happen. So in those spaces, the adoption of these technologies will become mandatory. But until then, the resistance will be much bigger than the adoption.
Right.
And it's a real thing. It's not an invention. It's a reality.
And we see that every day, like,
Of
some
course.
countries ban cryptocurrencies without any logic. Like, I don't know, so yeah, they have a logic behind, they have an explanation behind it, but I don't buy into that explanation, while some countries are very pro adopting them. So you're right, it's going to take time. So I think, Vandana, let's take some closing remarks before we wrap up the show. Over to you, please.
Thank you, Sunny. So I totally agree with all the other participants. See, micromanaging things also, makes it difficult for people to, monitor what is happening. So I think there's a lot of small, minute micromanaging in this space as well. Hence, it is, people are still having resistance towards adapting it. And I think, like, when we are forced to use it automatically, everybody will understand. And also educating the masses about it. Maybe they don't know what it is exactly, and they have notions about it. Hence, they don't want to really, take a chance on these kind of platforms. So, also coming to, as we are coming to the closing of this, thank you so much for having these wonderful like-minded sessions, which keeps me ongoing. And this is my happy family time, VCTV time, and really love to be here. I can be reached out on LinkedIn or through my website, www.convanto.com.
Thank you, Vandana, for your insights and the closing remarks. Adrian, over to you, please.
I would say, as a closing thought, that we need to push these ideas into the world. We need to be persistent. we need to find a way when there is possible, and when we are in connection with the state authorities, to explain our point of view if we have the occasion, because we are not in we are not in a battle against each other. We are pushing things we believe that can change the world.
Right.
We need to also to do our part, so this industry to be cleaned from bad players, which are also an element in any industry. Has its bad players, but there is a jungle here still, and we don't need to focus on the negatives, because the negatives will be there anyway. We need to focus on the positives, and to try to push, I don't know, the ethical things, the correct things we believe that can change the world, and to continue doing that. I can be reached on LinkedIn. I answer to all messages, not all the time immediately. I'm happy to help to contribute to the growth of the industry. I'm very pleased that I'm part of this educational initiative, which is the VCTV and LATOKEN. It's a very nice family feeling here, and I believe that we are contributing to the growth of this industry. At least
Thank you.
I'm believing that this is our thesis here. So happy to come back anytime.
Absolutely, Adrian, like a family member, always there on VCTV, sharing your great insights and experience. Thank you so much. Harsh?
Yeah, as mentioned by Vandana and Adrian, it's great to always be here. And it's interesting to see a lot of blockchain developments happening, right? Obviously, people need to understand that blockchain is a whole lot more than just crypto. And Bitcoin is just a small element to it. Ethereum, Dogecoin is just a small element to it. Don't take that on face value. Those things will keep on going up and down. But look at the beauty of the technology and the potential which is there, right? And that is how blockchain is going to truly make a lot of difference out there. And blockchain and AI, I see the future. These two technologies are going to be driving the future for the coming decade, and that's why it's extremely important to come up with new startups in that segment. And if there is any startup in that segment need any help in terms of fundraising, growth, or any support, any mentorship, feel free to reach out to me. We'll be happy to have a discussion with you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Harsh. Thank you, Vandana, Adrian, for your great insights today. We are right on time, wrapping up the show. Great insights. Again, I just want to say something quickly to our viewers of VCTV. We're back not next week, this week again on another episode of VCTV with another topic related to blockchain crypto. So stay tuned. A lot of exciting stuff coming up as well on NFT space, and one-on-one sort of interview with the founders of the blockchain startups and crypto startups. So please stay tuned for more. And speakers, thank you so much. And I'm going to catch you again on another episode. Till then, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.